First, we need to understand what we mean by optically active compounds. Certain compounds rotate the plane polarized light. Polarized light means which can be rotated, which can be polarized in any one direction, passing ordinary light through Nicol prism when it is passed through their solution. So, for example, you already know that in optical science, when we talk about that, you have a prism, and this is the light ray, and light ray gets uh, distributed in a spectrum, right? But here, what happens in Nicol prism, that if the light is passed through a solution of compound, okay, then this light, for example, if I have a sheet and I make a slit into it, right? Very thin slit, so that when the light passes through it, here I have light everywhere, but when the light passes through it, after that, the light is just a thin sheet, vertical sheet, okay? Nothing else. So you can say thin sheet of light beam. When it passes through the prism, which is actually known as Nicol prism, the light rotates. So basically, if I am seeing from this side, suppose I am seeing from left side, the light beam will look like this only. Okay, the cross-sectional area will be like this. And when it passes through the prism, it will rotate. So basically, this whole light will rotate either like this, if it rotates towards right, or if it rotates towards left, the beam will look like this. Okay. Again, remember, we are looking from the left side. So this is just the cross section. So this technique is used to find whether the compound is optically active or not. So if compound is optically active, it will rotate the light, polarized light, plane polarized light. Okay. So simple light, sun from sun is actually polarized light, plane polarized light. So it will rotate that light beam either towards left or towards right. So obviously, depending on whether it rotates to right and left, there will be different types of optical compounds. But this tells us that that particular compound is optically active. Optically means related to light. So it is rotating the light. That's why it is optically active. Now there are two types of optical isomers. So depending on whether it is rotating right or left, if the plane polarized light is rotated towards right, then it is known as dextrorotatory. If towards left, then it is known as levorotatory. Okay. In British English, it is LAEVO. In American English, it is LEVO. But pronunciation is same, levorotatory. So if compound rotates the plane polarized light towards right, dextrorotatory, Greek for right rotating. So that's actually a Greek word. Okay. Divya, good evening. And it is denoted by D form and is indicated by a positive sign before the degree of rotation. Now, here I need to mention one very important point, which we will be talking about in next chapter, alcohols, phenols, and ethers. That these D and plus signs actually are not same, okay? Although in NCRT it is written here, and that's why students get confused later on that I said D and plus are same related to dextrorotatory, okay? No, basically these two are different and this D is actually based on the structure. What is that structure we will be talking about in next chapter. This plus is actually which tells us whether it is right rotatory or left rotatory, whether it is dextro or levo. You might get confused that dextro starts with D, but D does not indicate actually the right rotation. Okay, D actually decides the structure. What is that structure in next chapter? So it is actually plus sign which decides whether it will rotate the line right side, okay, and minus sign will decide it will rotate the light towards left side. Okay, so you need to focus on plus and minus. And I hope you now understand what I am talking about rotation. Rotation is when the light is passed through Nicol prism, whether the light is rotated towards right or towards left. Yes, Yastika, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. That although in NCRT it is written here that dextro-rotatory is D form indicated by plus, D form is actually different. Okay? That is actually the structure we will be talking about in next chapter. Okay. That actually creates confusion. So that's why I'm clarifying here. Levorotatory, similarly, the light is rotated when it is passed through Nicol prism. It is rotated towards left. And what is in Nicol prism? Nicol prism has the solution of that compound which we are talking about. Okay. So when we say dextrorotatory, levorotatory, we are talking about organic compounds. Okay. In this case, alkyl halides, because in this chapter we are talking about haloalkanes and haloarenes. So in this case, we are talking about we have uh, an alkyl halide, solution of that alkyl halide in a Nicol prism, and we are passing light through it. Light gets rotated either right side or left side. If right side, dextrorotatory. If left side, levorotatory. Dextrorotatory is represented by plus sign. Levorotatory is denoted by minus sign. So these plus and minus isomers of a compound are called optical isomers, and this is known as optical isomerism. So 2 points you need to remember. First is the rotation, okay? And the second is it is related to optical isomers. Okay? Now, how to find out the isomers very easily, we will be talking about that. But before that, if you remember, I talked about that whenever you are asked about the geometrical isomers, the first thing which should come in your mind is cis and transforms. Okay? Remember, both are these both, whether geometrical isomers or optical isomers, these are stereoisomers. So in the beginning, we talked about stereoisomers. Okay? Stereoisomers, geometrical, optical. When we talk about geometrical, you should always think in terms of cis and trans. When we talk about optical isomers, you should always think about dextro and levo. Means plus or minus. Correct? Yes, Shasha, cis and transform, you got that correct. So optical isomers always dextro and levo. The spatial arrangement means arrangement in space that is in 3D form. So whenever the term spatial arrangement appears, you need to think that we are talking about 3D structures. In a spatial arrangement of 4 groups, that is 4 valencies of carbon, you know that carbon has 4 valencies, yeah, in tetrahedral form. Okay. Around central carbon is tetrahedral, and if all the substituent which are attached to that carbon are different, means you don't have like A, C, D. No, all are different. Such a carbon is called asymmetric carbon. Why we are talking about that? Because it will decide whether it will be optically active or not. This is very easy way to find out whether the compound is optically active or not. Okay, so we are moving towards that direction. For that, we need to understand whether the compound has at least one asymmetric carbon, because the compound can have multiple carbons: CH3, CH2, CH2, CH, Cl, CH3, like this. Okay? Now, if you see the carbon, this one, this carbon has four different branches, four different valencies. One, two, third is this hydrogen, and fourth is this methyl group. Because this hydrogen is actually like this. So this carbon, which has all four different attached substituents, is known as asymmetric carbon. Means it is not symmetrical, it is asymmetric. It has all different attached substituent groups. So first you need to understand what is asymmetric carbon, what is symmetric carbon. So the concept is very easy. Asymmetric carbon means that carbon has all the four substituents different. The resulting molecule would lack symmetry and is referred to as asymmetric molecule. So the molecule then will be known as asymmetric molecule. The asymmetric molecule will be that molecule which has at least one asymmetric carbon. The asymmetry of the molecule is responsible for the optical activity in such organic compounds. So if you are asked about which of the following will be optically active compound, means will rotate the plane polarized light when passed through Nicol prism. That compound will, the solution of that compound will rotate the light which has at least one asymmetric carbon. To answer, you need to understand, you need to just find, is there any carbon which has all the four substituent groups different? If yes, optically active. Now, related to this one is chirality. Chirality is just a term I'm going to explain, and then you will understand. It is related to basically symmetry, asymmetry. Okay. The symmetry and asymmetry are also observed in many day-to-day objects. For example, a sphere, cube, cone are all identical to their mirror images. So now we will be talking about mirror images, which will explain the chirality, and then we will relate chirality with the optical activity. Just be attentive. Important concepts here. If I have a mirror and I have a sphere here, the mirror image of this sphere, this is, symmetrical, regular sphere. There is no marking on this sphere. So the image of this one will be superimposable on the original object. Means these are identical. The object and the image both are identical. That is superimposable. They can be superimposed one over the other. Okay, if you have one, and suppose you have one sphere and you remove this one and place its mirror image here, it will look exactly like same thing. It means it is superimposable. However, many objects are non-superimposable on their mirror images. For example, your left and right hand look similar, but if you put your left hand on your right hand, they do not coincide. Just see here. You might think that if I flip my right hand and it will get superimposed. Because if you flip this one, the thumb will come on the left side here as it is here, but still it will not be superimposable. Yeah, so remember, when I'm saying superimposable, I am saying superimposable in any form, whether you rotate it 90 degree, whether you flip it upside down, whether you flip it 180 degree horizontally. Okay, so it should be superimposable. It is not a mandatory condition that it has to be in that position only. You can rotate it to make it superimposable. If it is superimposable, right, then in that case, we say it is identical. Okay? Identical. Superimposed, identical. But why I'm explaining here that hands, even if you flip, you can try, right? You place it on your hand, just you have palm of your hand horizontal and place your other hand on it. And you might think that it is superimposable because the thumb is with thumb, the fingers are on finger, the index finger is on index finger, the ring finger is on in ring finger. But no, the reason is because in one hand the palm is pointing upward, in other hand the palm is pointing downward. So they are not superimposable. Superimposable means that every point should superimpose, not the fingers or thumbs. So the hands are not superimposable, your feet are not superimposable. But if you see these glasses, for example, these glasses are and mirror images superimposable. Spheres superimposable. So for these, there is a new term, chirality. So the non-superimposable structures are known as chiral structure. Okay. A few people pronounce it chiral or chiral. That is not correct. The correct pronunciation is chiral. Chiral and chirality. Now here students make mistake. If you remember in solid states chapter, when we were talking about isotropy and anisotropy, I told you that students make mistake there because anisotropy is related to symmetrical structure, which is actually the crystalline form. Okay, anisotropy and isotropy was related to amorphous. The same confusion is here also, and the students make mistakes. The superimposable or identical objects and their mirror images, basically what when I'm saying identical, it means I'm talking about object and its mirror image. When these are identical, then these are non-chiral. Non-chiral means these compounds will not have all four substituent groups different. Okay, chiral will have all four subject substituent groups different. So I'm writing this thing and you need to memorize all these things. We will be using these concepts. Okay, I'm just building the concepts so that we can use these concepts later on. Chiral structures will give you a hint that there will be all four substituent groups different. If any two are same, any two, it will be non-chiral. So no two, three, four substituent groups can be same for any compound to be chiral and optically active. All these terms are actually interrelated. So I talked about the optical activity. So first I said dextrorotatory and levorotatory. Okay. Then I talked about asymmetrical carbon and symmetrical carbon. Then I talked about the superimposable compounds, structures, and non-superimposable compounds or structures. Then I move to chirality and non-chirality. These are all interrelated terms. Yeah. There are other aids, however, that can assist us recognizing chiral molecules. So as I said, one such aid is presence of single asymmetric carbon atom, means chiral molecule will have at least one asymmetric carbon atom. That molecule will be chiral. Okay? So first, instead of writing this one, let me explain so that you remember it. When I say chiral molecule, this is non-superimposable on mirror image. Okay, I'll explain this through diagram also. Okay, first understand these points. And why it will be non-superimposable? Because it will have asymmetric carbon. Because it will have asymmetric carbon, that is a condition for optical activity. It will be optically active. Means it will rotate light either towards left or right. So these 4 points should be clear. Yes, Vanna, correct. Chiral molecules are optically active. So if you understand now these 4 points, you will be able to understand what I'm going to talk about just in a few minutes. So we talked about chiral molecule. Why we talked about chiral molecule? Because that decides whether the compound is optically active or not, whether it will show optical isomerism or not. Now let us consider 2 simple molecules, propan-2-ol and butan-2-ol, and their mirror images. And we are trying to understand how, based on the chiral molecule or asymmetric carbon, we can say whether the compound will show optical activity or not. Means there will be the optical isomers or not. So first one, propan-2-ol. Okay. What is propan-2-ol? Propan-2-ol is CH3CHOH. CH3, this is propan-2-ol. Okay. Means this carbon has 2 methyl groups, 1 hydrogen and 1 OH. 2 methyl groups, 1 hydrogen and 1 hydroxyl group. 2 methyl groups, 1 hydrogen and 1 OH group. Now the mirror image. This is the mirror. And mirror image will look like this. And as I said, to superimpose, you can rotate it. You can rotate the mirror image horizontally, vertically, upside down, okay, whatever. But if it is superimposable, we will say that it is superimposable after rotating. So if you rotate it, say you rotated it horizontally 180 degree. When you rotate horizontally 180 degree, it will look like this. OH from the left side will move to right side. Okay. This CH3 from right side will move to left side. But one very important point which you need to notice, okay? Actually, this is this one. Because this CH3 was pointing outward of your screen. If you see this structure, 3D structure, this means it is pointing outward towards you. If you rotate it 180 degree horizontally, this will actually go away from you. So this one is actually this one. And this one, which was away from you when you rotate 180 degree and it comes to left hand side, it will actually point towards you. Getting the point? And now if you compare these two structures, these are exactly same structures, superimposable on each other. So because these are superimposable on each other, okay, means this carbon is not a symmetric carbon. This will not show optical activity. This is not a chiral molecule. The definition of chiral carbon was that all four ligands should be different. So basically, you could have seen that just in the beginning that it has two CH3 groups. It cannot be chiral molecule. But this is how we explain it diagrammatically. Okay. Otherwise, later on, you will not have to use the diagram. It is just for explanation purpose. Now consider, okay, so this is a chiral molecule because the chiral molecule is not present. Chiral molecule is that one which has all of the four substituent groups different. Okay. Now consider butanol. In butanol, first understand what is butanol. Butanol is CH3, CH2, CH, OH, CH. This is butanol. It has four groups attached to this carbon, and those four groups are ethyl group, hydroxyl group, hydrogen, and methyl group. This hydrogen is actually here. So carbon has methyl group, ethyl group, hydrogen, and OH. That's what is shown here. The carbon has methyl group, ethyl group, hydrogen, and OH. Now, the molecule which we have taken, in this case, the ethyl group is pointing towards us means upward the screen, out of the screen. The methyl group is pointing away from us. This is towards us. These two are in the plane of the screen. Hydrogen and OH are in the plane of the screen. Now see the mirror image. In mirror image, OH will be on the left hand side. The methyl group was away from us. It will be away from us in the mirror image. C2H5 group will be towards us because it is just the mirror image. In mirror image, it is not rotation. And hydrogen and OH will be plane of the screen. Now rotate it 180 degree. We are doing the same thing. When you rotate, the OH goes on the right hand side. The C2H5, which was pointing towards us, when we rotate it by 180 degree, it will actually go backward side. Just visualize in your mind. Okay. So it is now away. Okay. CH3 is towards us. Now, if you compare these two, okay, even after rotation, you have rotated, you know, even after rotation, these two are not superimposable as compared to this one. In this case, after rotation, these two were exactly same and superimposable in case of propan-2-ol. In case of propan butan-2-ol, the object and the image after rotation, 180 degree horizontal rotation, are not superimposable. This will give you a hint that it is optically active compound. It has chiral carbon. Chiral carbon, why? Because the carbons are not superimposable. Butanol has all four different groups attached to tetrahedral carbon and as expected is chiral. It will be chiral, it will be optically active. Okay. The mirror images will be non-superimposable. Yes, Shashwat. All the groups on carbon are different. So chiral. So this is just explanation diagrammatically. Otherwise, you just need to remember the concept. Chiral carbon means all four different substituent groups on that carbon. And this is a condition that the compound will show optical isomerism. Chirality is a condition for optical isomerism. Some common examples of chiral molecules 2-chlorobutane. 2-chlorobutane, if you see CH3, CH2, CHCl, all different substituents. That's why chiral molecule. Then 2,3-dihydroxypropanol. If you consider this one, okay, and you write specifically focus this one, this carbon. So this carbon has hydrogen. Here it has aldehydic group. Here it has OH group also. And then it has CH2OH. I'm talking about this carbon. This carbon has aldehydic group, hydrogen, OH, and CH2. All four different. Now there is a way to show the chiral carbon in structure. You will find that that carbon which is chiral will have asterisk on it, also called star. So there will be an asterisk, and this is common practice. If any carbon in a structure has asterisk on it, that will be chiral carbon. So sometimes you will be asked that indicate the chiral carbon in the following molecule. So you will indicate it by the asterisk. Next, bromochloroiodomethane. So I told you, if you remember in previous class also, that methane is CH4. This is chloromethane. Okay. This is dichloromethane. This is trichloromethane. Okay. Like this. If instead of just one halogen, chlorine, you replace it with these are hydrogens, 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 hydrogens. You replace one by chlorine, the other hydrogen with bromine, the other with iodine. In this case, it will have all the four substituent groups different. Bromo, chloro, iodo, methane means we have methane, but three hydrogens are replaced by bromine, chlorine, and iodine. That's why it will have chiral carbon. So it will be chiral molecule. Next, 2-bromo propanoic acid. So it will have C, 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 O, O, H. So if I would have called just propanoic acid, it would have been CH3, CH2, COOH. But at second carbon, I have bromine. So here it will be CHBr. This hydrogen, if write it here, all the four substituent groups are different. It will be a chiral molecule. So you will just see whether the four ligands, we also call them ligands. However, ligand is specifically a word used in coordination compounds, complex compounds, but sometimes also referred as ligand. Substituent groups are known as ligand. So it will be chiral molecule, means will show optical activity. Enantiomers, again related term, nothing different. Another term basically, whatever we will have the chiral molecule. Suppose if the compound is chiral, okay, it is chiral molecule. Then the molecule and its mirror image will be known as enantiomers. Simple thing. So the stereoisomers related to each other as non-superimposable mirror images are called enantiomers. So remember, in this case, these two are not enantiomers. The reason is because these are superimposable. These are not chiral molecules. So enantiomers are related to only chiral molecules. So in simple terms, these two are enantiomers because these two are mirror images of each other. If you consider the first one, second one is mirror image. If you consider the second one, first one is the mirror image and are non-superimposable on each other. So in simple terms, we say that if the molecule and its mirror image are not superimposable even after rotation, then these are chiral molecules and these two structures are known as enantiomers. Just emphasizing on this one, enantiomers are object and mirror image of a chiral molecule. Simple. These enantiomers possess identical properties. For example, melting point will be same, boiling point will be same, refractive index will be same. All these things will be same, except that one will polarize the light in right direction, the other one will polarize in left direction. That's the only difference. Okay. So rotation of the light will be different. They only differ with respect to rotation of plane polarized light. If one of the enantiomers is dextro, the other one will be levo. So remember, enantiomers are nothing but, we already talked about the dextro and levo form. Dextro and levo forms of a chiral molecule or compound. Now another term, racemic mixture. And then we will relate these to SN2 and SN1 mechanisms also. Okay. Racemic mixture is that mixture which has equal amount of both dextro and levo forms. That is called racemic mixture. So if we have 50% dextro and 50% levo, then this is termed as racemic mixture. Racemic mixture of what? Racemic mixture of dextro and levo isomers, nothing else, of the same compound. Compound is same, not a different compound. So it is mixture, but mixture of isomers only of the same compound. So a mixture containing two enantiomers in equal proportions will have zero optical activity. Now 50%, 50% means 50% it will try to rotate the light towards right. 50% will try to rotate left. So the net rotation will be zero. So racemic mixture, even though it can have chiral molecules, will not be optically active. The optical activity will be zero in that case. So racemic mixture is important because in normal terms, if the compound rotates the light, it will be optically active. But racemic mixture is a special case where rotation in both the directions is equal, hence net cancel and zero optical activity. Racemic mixture is represented by DL, means dextro-levo or plus minus. This one is more accurate, but in this chapter, DL is also written like that. Means dextro and levo both. So for example, if I talk about butan 2-ol, it is a racemic mixture. So 50% it will rotate light in left direction, 50% right direction. Okay. Now a compound can be converted into a form in which enantiomers are 50% dextro, 50% levo, and the mixture will be racemic mixture. In that case means optical activity will become zero. So this process is known as racemization. In which case it is possible, whether SN2 or SN1, we will be talking about that. Okay. First few questions and then we will move forward. And you need to be active on chat window. Let me know the answer here. The question says, identify chiral and achiral molecule in the following pair of compounds. Okay, Shashwat, Mehak, Ash, correct. Good, good. Correct. Just tell me chiral one, okay? Obviously, the other one is achiral. Just tell me chiral one. Everyone, very few answers. Tuhina, correct. Chiral carbon is that carbon. You know the definition, okay? Yes, please. Shivangi, correct. Dev, correct. Good. So the chiral carbon is that one which has all the four substituent groups different. And in this case, the first one has hydrogen, methyl group, bromine, and hydroxyl group. So this one will have the chiral molecules. So it will show the optical activity also. The first one is chiral molecule. Now tell me this one. Which one is chiral molecule? Tell me only the chiral one. Vanna, your previous answer was correct. Arohi, they were correct. Previous answer. Now tell me answer for this one. Which out of these two is chiral? Anish, correct. Shashwat, Vanna, Mehak, good. Correct. Shivangi, correct. Deepa, correct. If I missed name of someone, just post again. Divya, correct. Ashi, correct. Ahan, correct. Good. So for chiral, you need to see which one has all four substituent groups different. Okay. Now there are various carbons. You have this carbon, this carbon, this carbon. Now these carbons are actually CH2, CH2. So these carbons cannot be chiral because these has two hydrogens and all should be different. So we need to consider this carbon. On this carbon, OH, CH3, hydrogen, and then propyl. This is propyl. This is actually CH2, CH2, CH3. All four are different. However, on this carbon, if you see ethyl, ethyl, same. Hydrogen and OH are different, but ethyl, ethyl are same. So not all four are same in second one. Okay. So it means the first one is chiral molecule. Now tell me this one. Which one is a chiral molecule. Okay. Ashish, Shashwat, Divya, Nahak, Anish, Preeta, correct. Tuhina, correct. Mangi, correct. Good. Very good. So here if you see, this one has bromine, so you need to consider this carbon. Most probably this carbon will be the chiral carbon if it is. Okay. Or here you need to consider this carbon because this carbon is has bromine. Otherwise, all carbons have multiple hydrogens. But this carbon also has two hydrogens. So not all four different substituent groups. However, this carbon has methyl group, bromine, hydrogen, and ethyl group, four different substituent groups. That's why this carbon is chiral carbon. And hence this molecule is chiral molecule. Next, retention. Retention, why we are talking about? Because anyway, we are talking about all these so that we can relate these to SN2 and SN1, which we will be doing on later on. Okay. Retention is very simple term, means the structure is retained. The structure does not change. What I mean by that, if you remember in SN2 mechanism, the structure was inverted, and I called that inversion of a structure or inverted umbrella. You remember that, right? But in few cases, the structure will be retained, means it will not be inverted. Okay. Yes, Shashwat, correct. So if it is not inverted, we will say it is retention. If it is inverted, we will say it is inversion. Simple. So retention of configuration is the preservation of integrity of the spatial arrangement. Means in 3D structure, it will remain same. It will not change. So if you see, we got a compound reacted with an ion, Y minus, and it replaced X, but the configuration is still same. A is at same place, C is at same place, B is at same place, just Y replaced X. In case of SN2 mechanism, it was inverted. When OH replaced chlorine, okay, it was actually inverted. So here it is not inverted, retention. And this will primarily happen in SN1 reaction. Okay, but not always. I'll talk about, that's why we talked about racemization. Okay? So a chemical species XCAB. This is a way to represent this molecule, and sometimes it is written in the questions like this. So that's why it is necessary to tell you that it is nothing but that the carbon, this carbon has X, A, E, and C attached to it. Nothing else. But what happened that X was replaced by Y. So now this carbon has Y, A, B, C in the same order. XCABC, YCABC. It indicates that the structures are same. Structures have not changed. Just X has been replaced by Y. So these have same relative configuration. Now consider as an example the reaction that takes place when LiVo 2-methylbutane-1-ol is heated with concentrated hydrochloric acid. So this is just an example for that. Okay. So this is minus, means it is LiVo rotating the light towards left. It will rotate the plane polarized light towards left. Okay. Now you will not be asked be given on the structure only, that only structure is given, and you will not be asked that whether it is dextro or levo. That is something beyond NCRT, and that's something we talk about in case of JEE or NEET. And there are different ways to find out based on the structure whether it will be levo or dextro, whether it will rotate the light towards left or right, but not in CBSE. So here you will be given, the name will be given that it is levo. It will rotate the light towards left. Now, if you see, this OH is replaced by chlorine, but the chlorine is exactly at the same place where OH was, hydroxyl group was. So it means that it is a retention of the configuration, although it is conversion from levo to dextro. So it is not necessary that if the configuration is maintained during retention, it is not necessary that the product will also be having the same polarization properties or optical activities. So optical activity may change even if there is retention. I am repeating, even if there is retention of configuration, the optical activity can change. It can remain same, it can change. So there is no relationship between the retention of the molecule, retention of the configuration, and retention of the optical activity. So don't get confused that we are talking about retention of the optical activity. We are just talking about retention of the configuration structure. That's it. Okay. That's why I said that you normally you can't decide based on the structure whether it will be dextro or levo, because you just replaced OH with chlorine and the optical activity changed, although the configuration is retained, retention of configuration. These examples you need to memorize. Okay, a few examples you should remember, because sometimes the questions ask that explain retention with an example. This will be the example you should be giving there. Now inversion, retention, and racemization, all three just in one place. Okay, suppose this is the structure we are talking about. We have this structure, okay, and we get it reacted with Y in all three cases, but reaction is different. Y is obviously different in all the three cases. It's not same. So in one case, it might be that X was replaced by Y and configuration is exactly same. So this is retention. In another case, might be that the X is on left hand side and after it is replaced by Y, it is on right hand side. This is inversion. That is inversion of configuration. Now, in another case, there is a possibility that you have both. You have A as well as B, 50% A, 50% B. That is racemization. Means you have 50% A, 50% B. And when it will happen, I'll tell you shortly when racemization will happen. So that's what we are going to talk about. That now optical activity for SN1 and SN2 mechanism for optically active alkyl halides. How we can interrelate what we have understood about SN2 and SN1 mechanisms, how we can relate that to optically active alkyl halides. In case of optically active alkyl halides, the product formed as a result of SN2 mechanism has inverted configuration. This is something you already know. Inverted configuration in case of SN2 mechanism. So if it is inverted configuration, okay, if it is inverted configuration, the optical activity will change in that case. Those will be enantiomers, okay. So this is because the nucleophile attaches itself on the side opposite to one where the halogen atom is present. So here we are talking about just the inversion of configuration, nothing else. This is the example. Bromine was attached on the right side. When OH replaced it, OH got attached on the left side. Example you need to remember, minus 2 bromo octane. Okay. Instead of minus 2 bromo octane, you can say minus 2 bromo butane also. Okay. So this group should be just different. It can be C2H5. Instead of C6H13, it can be C2H5. Reaction will be similar. So it is inversion of configuration in SN2 mechanism. Thus, SN2 reactions of optically active halides are accompanied by inversion of configuration. Now, SN1 reaction. SN1 reaction, the major term related to this one is racemization. And you remember when I talked about racemization, I said that is 50% inversion, 50% retention. So how is it possible that 50% is inverted, 50% is retained? The reason is, I have already explained in previous classes, due to formation of planar carbocation. The carbocation formed is actually planar, sp2 hybridized. See here, in SN1 mechanism, if you remember, we talked about that first carbocation is formed. I hope you are going through the videos of recordings of the videos on regular basis. You are revising. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand what I am talking about if you don't understand the previous classes concepts. Okay. SN1 first carbocation is formed. And we talked about that this step is very slow. And that's why this step decides the rate of the reaction. Only one step. That's why SN1 name. One stands for unimolecular, means one molecule, that is the halide, decides the rate of the reaction. So here the carbocation formed is actually planar. This is a planar molecule. It's just in a plane. So if it is planar, the attack on it, so suppose this one I am talking about, this is the carbocation. Okay, same thing I have written here. On this carbocation, now because it is planar, if I see from the right side, it will be just a plane, okay, like this. If I see from either right side or left side, if I see it from left side or right side, it will look like just a vertical line to me because it's just a plane. Okay. So in this case, the attack by the nucleophile from right side or left side, the probability is same. How? Probability of attack from right side or left side is same because the hindrance is same from both the sides. So it means 50% it will be dextro, 50% it will be levo. Because it will be 50% dextro, 50% levo, it means the mixture of these two will be racemic mixture. Okay. Now tell me in the chat window, if it is a racemic mixture, in which direction it will rotate the polarized, plane polarized light? In which direction it will rotate the plane polarized light? Mahak, correct. Shashwat, correct. Devya, correct. Ashi, correct. Shivangi, correct. Okay. It will not rotate the light in any direction because it will have zero optical activity. The optical activity due to dextro will be cancelled by levo. No rotation. Yes, correct. Rina, Shivangi, correct. So racemization is specifically related to SN1 reaction. So when SN1 reaction happens, it leads to racemic mixture, means the compound may not be optically active. Yes, Ahan, correct. Now the question, write the equations for the preparation of one iodobutane from one butanol. I'm just writing it so that you can understand. If that's why I said that if you have revised the previous concepts, you will be able to answer these questions. Okay. Preparation of one iodobutane, CH3, CH2, 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 I, from one butanol, CH3, CH2, 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 OH. How will you prepare that and which particular reaction it will be? Whether it will be SN2 or it will be SN1. Tell me in the chat window. How will you convert one butanol, one iodobutane, and which type of reaction it will be? No answer till now. Shivangi, the type of reaction is correct. Tell me how. Okay, as a hint, the type of reaction you can get, this is primary halide you are producing from primary alcohol. So for primary, in which case, whether SN2 or SN1, the reaction is fastest. In case of primary, whether SN2 is fastest or SN1, that will be the answer. Yes, Shashwat, correct. They will think again. Ashi, correct. So SN2 mechanism is fastest when hindrance is minimum. Hindrance is minimum in case of primary. Okay, tertiary SN1 fastest. Primary SN2 fastest. Yes, Vanda, correct. Tugna, Mehak, correct. Now tell me how you will convert this. I'm getting a feeling that you are not revising on regular basis. You have to revise. You are now in 12th. Okay, you have to give time on daily basis. No, Shastra. In this case, it is SN2. Carbocation. Think about that. Carbocation. Why do you say carbocation? Okay. Now understand this question. Okay. This is one of the preparation methods I told you. Okay. That you can get it reacted with HI and ZnCl2, although the yield in this case will be less. Okay. You can get one iodobutane. Actually, it is when we talked about HCl and ZnCl2, and I told you what is this mixture known. What is the name of this mixture, HCl plus ZnCl2? Tell me. Yes, Shashwat, correct. Okay, Vanna, correct. You must know these things. This will appear in the examination. You might just get that if one butanol is reacted with Lucas reagent, what will be the product? How will you know if you don't know the Lucas reagent? Lucas reagent is a mixture of HCl and ZnCl2. Okay, so this is Lucas reagent. Now, this is just a way to do it, but a better answer in this case will be that first you convert CH3, CH2, CH2, CH2OH using Lucas reagent to chloride. Because iodide is not produced in good yield. And then you convert this butyl chloride to butyl iodide. Tell me what is the name of this reaction. Second step. If you think you are not able to answer, it means you need to go through the previous recordings. Okay. Don't hesitate to go through the previous recordings. Some just run it in fast forward mode even. Okay, you know that you can increase the speed of the video. Ashi, correct. What is the name of this reaction where I have converted the butyl chloride to butyl iodide? Rita, correct. Now I'm giving you a hint. Okay, Shashwat, correct. Waiting for few more seconds. Okay, now I'm giving you a hint. The second one is one of the halogen exchange reactions for the preparation of alkyl halides. Halogen exchange method. Okay, Vanna, correct. Tell me the name. Yes, halogen exchange, Ahan, but what is the name of this reaction? Second reaction. Make sure that you go through the previous recordings. Every student who is not able to recall it. So, Hina, correct. Mehak, you are close, but it is actually the different one, other one. So the conversion of any chloride or bromide to iodide is Finkelstein reaction. Finkelstein reaction, halogen exchange reaction.